Video games and gore have always gone hand in hand. Since the early days of Doom, games have had a fascination with all things bloody. I mean, even Pac-Man used to take a pill and start cannibalising ghosts. As time's gone on and graphical technology has improved, the violence and gore in games has become much more visceral and realistic. Today we take a look at 6 gory video games that will make you skip your dinner. As always, if we've missed anything on our list, let us know in the comments down below.
You're gonna turn the slash world on its head.
People like to classify Bully as the runt of the Rockstar litter, with the likes of GTA and Red Dead Redemption grabbing all the headlines, but I'd like to put forward Manhunt. Whilst many still fondly recall their days spent at Bulworth Academy, it seems that Manhunt has been forgotten by many. Now what made Manhunt so gory was the brutal executions you could pull off.
Take him!
Not a trace of freak here.
Anything from plastic bags to shards of glass could be used to dismember, disfigure and dissect the game's enemies, which were some of the most intimidating enemies in video games at the time.
I'm coming over there to beat your fucking brains out!
They would call at you, make threats, hunt in packs and be downright terrifying. Now the stealth system was very basic, I'll admit, and if you're in the shadows you couldn't be seen. Yep, even if the hunters were staring straight at you. Sometimes you didn't even need to be in the shadows, you could somehow sneak by unnoticed.
Getting too old for this shit.
Him out!
All this violence was carried out whilst the crazy director barked instructions to you, urging you to kill in the most gory way possible so that he could sell the footage as snuff films. The game rewarded the brave with more brutal executions. The longer you stalked your enemy, the more gory the kill. The game was banned in several countries and was even implicated in a murder by the UK media, though this was rejected by the police and court. Still, this caused major UK outlets such as Game and Dixon's to stop stocking the game altogether. Despite the gore, Manhunt isn't a one-trick pony and is a genuinely great game to play. The less said about Manhunt 2, the better. The most recent entry onto our list, and another successful attempt to include at least some Resident Evil 7 in every video we do. Resident Evil 7 is all about building atmosphere and tension to scare the player. Sometimes less is more when it comes to scares, and even simple actions such as opening doors in Resident Evil 7 becomes a test of nerve. That doesn't mean the game is scared to show a little gore. In certain parts of the game, limbs are chopped off, hands are impaled and heads are caved in with shovels. There's even a scene where you're forced to shove your hand inside a decapitated police officer's body, through his neck, into his body.
Sorry, buddy.
This scene was actually cut from the Japanese version of the game, with the item you're looking for being left on a table for you to find. If you're after gore, tension and great gameplay rolled into one, then look no further than Resident Evil 7.
Trunk. Hey, put that door back! Put that door back up! Wait!
Jason wins. Fatality.
An obvious inclusion on any list about video game gore. Since the early 90s, Mortal Kombat has been causing controversies with its depiction of extreme gore.
Finish him!
Here's Johnny.
The original Mortal Kombat is the reason that ESRB was formed, to rate all video games and to make sure that these ratings were displayed clearly on the box. The real cause for the uproar was the game's brutal fatalities. If you had defeated your opponent, you were told to finish him. Now this could be achieved by a good old fashioned uppercut, or you can input a special combination of buttons to perform a special finishing move known as a fatality. As time has gone on, the finishing moves have become more and more violent, with limbs, heads and whole torsos being ripped apart for entertainment. As was the case with Manhunt, the gore isn't a cheap way to get people to play the game. The fighting is satisfying and rewarding in equal measure. Just don't play it when your parents are about.
Scorpion wins. Fatality.
When compiling this list, we almost forgot about the Gears of War series. Now, I don't know if it's because we are killing the Locust, a deplorable enemy with no redeeming features, or the game is so detached from reality with its muscle-bound heroes that the violence doesn't quite sink in. Still, Gears of War is some of the most brutal gameplay in video games. Similar to Mortal Kombat, if you have downed an enemy, you can perform an execution. Nearly every weapon in the game has its own unique execution, whether it's curb stomping your opponent, swinging at their head with a shotgun, or just repeatedly punching them in the head until they die. If you shotgun an enemy up close, there's a chance they'll be burned into hundreds of tiny bloody pieces. And don't even get me started on the chainsaw.
Wasn't too painful, I hope.
If there was an award for the video game with the most blood per litre, I'm pretty certain that The Evil Within would win hands down. The game, created by former Resident Evil director Shinji Mikami, pays homage to the Resident Evil series but ups the blood factor tenfold. Set in a mental asylum, it wastes no time displaying the red stuff. Not 10 minutes in and you're strung up, surrounded by corpses, confronted by a man wielding a meat cleaver. This really does set the scene of what's to come, as blood and guts are the order of the day as you try to make sense of this insane asylum. Even The Evil Within's game over screens take the opportunity to up the gore factor, with the very first death scene resulting in a beheading. And probably worst of all, you land in this pile of blood and guts with an open wound. Think of the infections. Last but by no means least, God of War 3 tells the story of Kratos as he seeks revenge on the mythical Greek gods. After being tricked into killing his family by Ares, who Kratos then kills to become the God of War, he finds out that he's the son of Zeus, the king of the gods. Talk about a whirlwind of emotions. Kratos solves his problems by dismembering them, then if that doesn't work he beheads them, and if that doesn't work he pulls them apart into tiny pieces. It really is rare to see a AAA game that's this violent, especially as Kratos is seen as a PlayStation mascot. The game doesn't hold back in displaying the red stuff. I mean, this happened in the game's opening 30 minutes. Now don't be surprised to find yourself feeling a little bit of sympathy for some of Kratos' victims as he goes about his bloody business. You will sometimes feel the need to look away as he gouges someone's eyes out and separates somebody's intestines from their body. In the soon to be released God of War sequel, you will play as Kratos' son, so hopefully Kratos can take a well-earned break and maybe top up his tan. His complexion is awfully pale. And that's our list. Did we miss anything out? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you have a great day, and I'll speak to you all very, very soon.